right, good morning everyone. Thank you for joining us here. Family First Life, AMS, live on Facebook. That's the Advanced Market Sales. I'm your host, Sean Ruggiero. Today we're going to talk about quite a few things. It's going to be very training centric and a little bit of information towards the end there to get our week going. But let's go ahead and start with the Safe Money Smart Twitter account, okay? Now, I know a lot of people say, hey, I don't do Twitter, okay? I get it. I don't do Twitter either, but it's a very good tool, kind of like Facebook. I don't do Facebook. I don't update pictures. In fact, if you see an update on my Facebook, it's because Joanne put it there, all right? But I understand the importance of having Facebook. I understand the importance of reaching people and being in touch and being in communication. It's the same thing with Twitter. So if you don't have a Twitter account, I encourage you, go start one, simply so you can follow Safe Money Smart. So that's at Safe Money Smart on Twitter. I'm going to show everyone here some of the content that you're going to find when you go to the Safe Money Smart Twitter account. So as you look here under the Safe Money Smart tweets, there's a myriad of tweets. Now, what is being accomplished here, and this is gathered from news feeds, articles, information that I am gathering and reading, information that Jay Rosenkrantz is looking at, information that Bridget's looking at. We come together and we say, hey, this would be a valuable tidbit for a client to know. Okay, this is something that our agents should know, but our clients should know also. So it's very consumer facing, helping you relay information and educate clients on the benefits of FIAs in retirement. So if we look at one here, this is just an example, okay? This talks about the VIX index, okay, as we show right here. The VIX index, also known as the fear index, shows the highest, steepest negative 90-day trend line in over 10 years. Now is the time to consider a fixed index annuity, recover losses, eliminate gains, eliminate fees, and capture future gains, okay? So if we look at that here, we're talking about the VIX index. Now, does someone out there who's watching this know what the VIX index means? Maybe not, but it gets their mind going on what that might mean for their retirement. Another one that we show here is right here. This should look fairly familiar, okay? Talking about Safe Money Smart tweets. This was sent out on December 28th. But in a time of high volatility, volatility-controlled indexes can shine. Check out an example of a volatility-controlled index at work for a fixed index annuity averaging nearly 7% of realized annual gains over the last 10 years, all right? And we're showing something from a Performance Elite product that shows the most recent 10, the highest 10-year period in the last 2 decades, and the lowest 10-year period in the last 2 decades, with these average annual compounding interest returns of 6.96%, 7.26%, and 5.05%. Again, how valuable would this be showing a client? And I think the key ingredient here is this is an agnostic entity. Safe Money Smart was something I founded in 2014 as a nonprofit to educate consumers and agents alike of the alternatives to the stock market in retirement, right? The stock market is going to have potential fees, potential losses. That's what we want to avoid when we're in retirement. So Safe Money Smart preaches about that. So scroll through here. You'll see lots of them. Infographics, information, highlights, updates, news. Some of the stuff's a little bit lighter. Some of it's a little bit heavier. But I encourage you, go to Safe Money Smart on Twitter, follow the feed, and then use it to your advantage. There's a lot of you out there, and if you've worked in annuities long enough, meaning 6 months, a year, 2 years, you know that there's a lot of clients you engage, but you don't sell, right? Matt Smith put it best. He says, if I'm closing 1 out of 3 annuities, I feel like I'm doing a good job. And that's really, really true. But those other 2/3 of the people that you didn't reach, maybe it just wasn't the time. Maybe there needed to be a change in the market. Maybe there needed to be a life-altering event, a sickness, a loss of income, a loss of a loved one. Whatever it is, these are the types of tidbits that will help them, help spur that thought process around why they could benefit from an FIA, and it will keep you in front of them. So please, I encourage you, go to Safe Money Smart on Twitter, follow it, and any feedback you have, please send it back. If you like a tweet, you can like it, you can redistribute, you can retweet it, and you can educate yourself at the same time. So again, Safe Money Smart on Twitter. Make sure you use that tool, a valuable tool. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our Facebook Live AMS call this week. We're going to kick it off with our annuity leaderboard for annuities issued February 14th to February 20th. We have Ziv A with 400,000, Zach L with 320,369, Kevin W with 300,000, Dominic W with $200,050, Tyler T with 157,424, Tyler T with another one for 143,538, Tyler S with 137,000, Wayne C with 133,309, Jonathan W with 125,238, Matt S with 89,147, Jose G with 63,358, Alvern V with 50,000, Melissa M and a Carol V with a split on $40,081, Tim K with 31,685, Jose G with another one here for 30,000, James F for 17,232, Dean P with 16,591, Ross R with 15,045, Michael S with $14,557, and Dan G with $10,000. That brings our total for this week to almost $2.3 million. So great week, everybody. Thanks for bringing all those in. We're excited to keep helping you and growing that number every week. Just a few weekly updates for you here today. I want to point out you should have all received emails starting last week about the Athene rate changes. Those do start next week, so make sure you're paying attention to that. Most of the products were affected, so just make sure you're paying attention, getting your deadlines met with those applications. Secondly, I want to point out that our new annuity comp levels are now in effect starting today, the 25th of February. If you have any questions about any of that, what your new level is, what the structure is, if you need a copy of this, please email us at annuity@familyfirstlife.com. You should have also been receiving an updated email from Athene directly that shows your new commission structure as well. But again, any questions, just reach out. We're happy to help. As a third and final thing, I just want to recap on the CRM Ask a Specialist tool here. We are getting a ton of requests, which is amazing. We're excited and excited to help you grow and work through those scenarios. With that being said, to be as efficient as possible, I just want to ask that you're all reading these questions very thoroughly. One in particular being this question right here. Are you currently taking money from this account? If so, how much? A simple yes here does not answer the question, and it actually requires me to ask you for more info, which slows down the process and me being able to return your request in a timely manner. If they're taking money, we need to know how much. So again, please just read all the questions thoroughly. We have tried to build this out to be as efficient as possible and gather as much information as possible, so to be able to not have to go back and forth multiple times on getting the information. Just read this thoroughly and answer the questions to the best of your ability in fullness, and that would really help us out as we're getting flooded with requests, which is exciting, but I want to be able to get them back to you as fast as possible. So again, thanks for tuning in. You guys have a great week, and we will see you next week. Thanks.
So I've been at FFL a little over 3 years, and to date I've issued a little over $1 million in annuities. I've definitely lost more than I've written, but what I can tell you is what has allowed me to write what I have written is tapping into the system. The Annuities 101 training has been paramount, just explaining the fundamentals, the brochure, the Safe Growth brochure, and the Understanding Retirement brochure. The last 15 minutes of every conference call up until recently, where Sean would basically dig into the annuity production or that aspect of our business and just give us the tools, tips, and tricks to facilitate a conversation intelligibly. And then I think when they started doing the advanced market calls, I texted them immediately and told them that Thursday was probably my new favorite day now, because I really crave that information. Especially having a degree in finance and econ and a career in banking prior to Family First Life, never having been exposed to fixed index annuities for the same reasons that we tell clients that their brokers and the people that are managing their money don't tell them about it. So it's been really beneficial to have Sean and his team, Bridget and those guys, supporting me throughout this journey. And then the invites to actually visit a theme. Like we talk about everything else, people buy from people that they like and people that they trust. Taking it one step further and being able to speak about the actual people at a theme and having them trust a group of people that they've never met to manage the money that they've worked their entire lives to build up, to provide for their family, has also proved extremely beneficial. So I wouldn't trade those trips for the world. Establishing the bonds with the people there and having them know who you are so that when you call, they know. And then establishing relationships with the other people that go on those trips, the people that are also writing annuities, learning to write annuities, having conversations with them. Kind of takes that whole you don't know what you know, or you know something when you can teach it to somebody else. Having those conversations and pulling on those people has also proven extremely beneficial. So Annuities 101, the Advanced Market Solutions, calls now on Thursdays or Facebook Live. And if you ever get an opportunity, an invite to go out to a theme, don't take it lightly. Hope that helps. Take care.
Okay, everyone, thanks again. This is the classroom portion, so we're going to be learning something that we can apply to the sale of FIAs and our overall education as we grow with retirement income planning and the rules, regulations, but also the tactics that make sense and why we suggest FIAs in so many situations. A real quick note, you're seeing more and more of these agent testimonials. This week we are seeing Tyler Taylor, we're seeing Wayne Carr. Honestly, and this just isn't lip service, two of my favorite agents out there. But I like sharing these because you see some of the success stories. So what I would like you all to continue to do, and we're getting a lot of them in, is record yourself. Give us a 1 or 2 minute testimonial on your progress, your success stories, things that have worked for you. And please understand, this isn't just a big love fest. This isn't just, oh, thank you, Family First Life. You know, we all get that, and it is appreciated. I understand that. Everybody wants to be thanked. Everyone wants to be recognized. But this is for training. This is your chance to share with the rest of the country what has worked for you, okay? What situation did you find yourself in? How did you find the annuity opportunity or the IUL opportunity? And how did you capitalize? What tools did you use? What questions did you ask? And how did you close it? Okay, and what did that mean to your bottom line? So make it about you and your unique situation, because that's what's going to help agents grow the most. By the way, when I talk about IULs, we've had so many Ask a Specialist. We're breaking records. We're getting more Ask a Specialists coming out of conference in 1 week than we would get in an entire month. So the future bodes well. We are really looking for a big future here when it comes to the next 6 months or so. But also the IUL, the Index Universal Life submissions through Ask a Specialist have been through the roof. We used to get maybe 1 a week to a week. We're getting 3 or 4 a day. So keep them coming. Y'all are doing a great job with that. Now let's get to the classroom here for advanced market sales. I want to talk to you about the truth about liquidity. The truth about liquidity. Here are some common objections that we get when we're talking to clients about moving their retirement money, their qualified money, 401k, 403b, IRA, 457, whatever it is, over to an FIA. Now, real quick, it stays as an IRA. Okay, that's sometimes a common misconception. We get this question all the time. And I'm paraphrasing, but we will get agents who say, client wants to keep the money in their IRA because they believe it's going to perform better. Well, that's a foolish statement. Okay, it's an uneducated statement. We need to educate them. When you put the money, qualified money from the IRA or 401k or 403b into an FIA, it stays as an IRA. It stays the exact same tax status. The IRA is a wrapper, a tax wrapper. Under Section 401 of the IRC, it says, here's the rules about this taxation. What you invest that IRA in can be stocks and bonds, it can be mutual funds, it can be real estate, it can be private money lending, it can be an annuity, it can be an FIA. So just a quick little lesson there. We get that question a lot. So understand that an IRA is not anything. An IRA does not dictate or define any sort of investment. It's just a tax classification. So when we talk about our average client, I think the industry average is somewhere around 65-70% of FIAs funded are qualified money. That's pre-tax money, money that was invested or created through a 401k, 403b, 457, TSP, whatever it might be. With Family First Life, I'd say our percentage is even higher. We calculated this over a year ago and it was about 85%. So most of the clients that you meet with, these middle Americans, the underserved, they save money through defined contribution plans like a 401k. So most of the time we're dealing with those clients and those types of funds. So if we talk to a client, what are some of the common pushbacks we get when we mention an FIA? And a lot of these have been loaded on their lips by the financial advisors they're working with. They just throw this out, throw that out, throw a dart at that, and these are how they shoot it down. Well, we've got to be able to combat that. And there's some very good ways to combat that that are forged in fact, like Tom Hegna says, based in math and science. And that's what I'm going to share with you today. So let's talk about some of the objections, right? Annuities, or FIAs, are too restrictive. All right? I'm a client, you're the agent, you say to me, hey, I recommend this fixed index annuity. Yeah, annuities are too restrictive. See, I don't want to have my money tied up for that long. How many times do you hear that? All the time. I don't want to have it tied up. All right? You can't get your money out without a penalty. Yeah, these annuities sound real good, but they lock you in. You can't get your money out, you can't touch it, you can't access it. I'm going to stay clear of that. See, stocks and bonds have more liquidity. Right? How many times have you heard this? All the time. Let's talk about the truth when it comes to liquidity, the truth when it comes to flexibility for our retirement accounts. First, let's understand what qualified funds are, all right? Qualified money, 401ks, 403bs, 457s. I know you're getting sick of hearing me saying this, but I'm trying to drill it home. IRAs, this is money that has been put into an account pre-tax. The tax has never been paid, okay? So if I say to someone, you have a 401k or an IRA and you have $400,000 in it, how much do you have? $400,000. Wrong. You have $400,000 minus X. X is whatever the taxes are for that account. And see, people don't think about that oftentimes. I do still have to pay taxes. And every dollar that I take out of that account, I have to pay as income tax. It counts as income. Okay? So let's look at that. Take qualified money. Take an IRA. And now let's dissect that IRA. Your complaints here were that annuities were too restrictive and you don't want to have your money tied up. You can't get your money without a penalty. Stocks and bonds have more liquidity. Well, stocks and bonds, as I just said before, if they're inside an IRA, the tax wrapper itself, these things are handcuffed. They don't have as much liquidity because they're handcuffed by the restrictions of an IRA, of a qualified fund. See, if you're under 59 and a half and you take out money, you take a distribution, so long as it's not actually true annuitization or what they call equal payments for at least 5 years, which is oftentimes not the case, then now you pay income tax on every dime you take out, plus you pay a 10% penalty. I'd say that's a restriction. Does it have anything to do with an annuity? No. Does having the IRA invested in stocks and bonds eliminate that? No. So there's already a restriction. All distributions are taxed. We want to keep our tax burden as low as possible in retirement. Doesn't that make sense? Right? Because we don't want to fork out a lot of money for taxes because we're not making any more money. And every dime we take raises our provisional tax footprint, which can increase the amount of Social Security that you're taxed on. See, if you're in the poor area, under $24,000, $25,000 of income, then none of your Social Security is going to be taxed. If you're in the reasonable area, the middle income area, I'm giving you rough numbers. You can look these up or email annuity at Family First Life and we share it, or look at your trifolds because it's in there. Then only half of your Social Security income is going to be taxed. But if you reach into the higher income bracket, relatively speaking, then 85% of your Social Security is going to be taxed in retirement. Well, what's the number one thing that screws that up? Taking out too much money from your distributions. So that's a restriction. You don't have full liquidity when you have these types of penalties and restrictions. And last, remember this, retirement savings, right? We are accumulating, right? We'll blow our entire paycheck 1 month or 2 months in a row because we feel like we can recover because we're still working. And that makes sense to a certain extent. It makes sense that we can make more money later. It makes sense that we can make sacrifices later on down the road. It doesn't work that way with retirement savings. Retirement savings are finite. Once you've built them up, that's it. Unless you're earning interest on them, those retirement savings aren't going to grow. So you want to talk about being handcuffed, you want to talk about a restriction. How about the fact that you really shouldn't be spending more than 3 to 4% of your retirement savings every year? Do FIAs allow 3% only? No, FIAs allow 5 to 10% or even 20% to be taken out. So which restriction is worse? The restriction of 4% so that this thing can last for the rest of your life, or at least 30 years starting at age 65, or the restriction of an FIA to only take out 10%, right? So my point being this, qualified money has its own surrender charge. So when someone comes out and talks to us about, I don't want my money tied up, these are too restrictive, you can't take the money out without a penalty, you say, yeah, let's talk about those things. It's called qualified money. The least of your problems, Mr. or Mrs. Smith, is the small restrictions that an FIA provides, especially because the benefits it provides for that far outweigh the restrictions. And the restrictions fall within tighter restrictions from qualified money. So they're really nullified when you look at it from that standpoint. Let's look at an actual illustration. Very, very powerful illustration. If you need a copy of this, you can go ahead and email us at annuity@familyfirstlife.com. But here's the truth about liquidity. So you want to keep all stocks and bonds, right? Let's say you have $500,000 in mutual funds. I can sell those, and yeah, we might have some capital gains tax, things like that. It doesn't matter. Let's say this is qualified funds, okay? So I only take paid tax when I take money out. I'm using that safe max amount of 4% per year. I need this $20,000 in addition to my pension, Social Security, and spouse's Social Security in order to live. So that's easy, right? I got my $500,000 and I'm going to take out a 4% year safe max. That's going to result in $20,000 per year of annual income withdrawal. And based on the safe max theory by William Bengen, I shouldn't run out of money. And you probably won't. And you might actually make some money if the markets go up. We don't really know. None of that's guaranteed. But it's a sound strategy. But what we're arguing is liquidity. What we're arguing is that I don't want my money tied up. FIAs are too restrictive. Stocks and bonds have more liquidity. It's simply not true. See, because when we look at $500,000 to produce 20 grand on a 4% safe max, how much of this money can you spend freely and still keep this $20,000 coming in every year? Zero. So how restrictive is that? The rules say you can cash out as much of those mutual funds as you want, but the reality is you just gave yourself a huge tax load. You raised your marginal income way up, you increased the amount of Social Security you pay tax on, and you jeopardized running out of money too soon. That's not very lenient. To me, that seems very restrictive. Now let's flip that over. Let's take that same $500,000 and I want to achieve $20,000 of annual income. That's the number I need. Because of mortality crediting, I can achieve a higher amount of income with less money. So let's look at this. I only have to put in $378,072. It's an exact number because I ran the Athene Ascent Bonus Pro income option number 1. I put that into an income FIA, I get the same amount, $20,000. So I have just matched what $500,000 can do with $378,000. That leaves me $121,928 to put in an accumulation FIA. Now, if I ran that, and I ran a Performance Elite PE 7, and I took out an additional 4% per year on this product, if you want to see the illustrations, let me know. I can send them to you, or you can run them. I now, at the end of 30 years, because this is designed for 65 to 95, 30 years, I'm doing the same thing, matching up here, 65 to 95, and taking just 4% per year, I would have taken out almost $250,000 by age 95, and still have $264,000 sitting in my account. So what's better? Taking out your $20,000 per year for 30 years, or turning that money into a guaranteed income stream versus a probability income stream, or turning it into a guaranteed income stream versus probability income stream, and allowing yourself another $500,000 of true liquidity. Yes, you still have to pay income tax, but I'm just showing an average withdrawal. Let's get back to the basic logic of it. If you want to produce $20,000 a year of probability income through stocks and bonds, you're going to need to have $500,000 so you can take out 4% per year. If you want to do it with annuities, FIAs, you can take out far less, $378, produce the same $20,000, and have $122,000 for true liquidity. Now, tell me, which one of these is more restrictive? The stocks and bonds or the FIAs? I rest my case. So, great information here. Hope this helps. If you have any questions, let us know. You can message us, or you can ping us on the Facebook live chat, or you can email us at annuity@familyfirstlife.com. Thank you.
Hey, this is Adam down in Houston, Texas, and I just want to share a recent story about an Accordia IUL that I had the opportunity to write here in January. And I had a mortgage protection lead, went to go meet this gentleman, and it was about a $100,000 mortgage, and went there to try to figure out how am I going to help this guy and what problem am I going to solve. And upon kind of talking with him, I found out that it wasn't just his mortgage that he had about $1 million worth of loans. He had several homes he owned, he had an office building he owned, and after talking to him, what we figured out was the best solution was going to be an Accordia IUL. And we got in place, got approved, healthy guy, and it was about $1.25 million face amount, and set up the premium. He earns about $250,000 a year, set up the premium for about $2,500 a month, and he's going to have this policy basically fully paid up when he's about 70. He's currently about 54, and he's not going to outlive this thing. So essentially made his wife a millionaire right out of the gate, and he loved the concept, doing the increasing death benefit. So it's like his wife's going to get the death benefit plus all the money he's been putting in there. Great product, so much value, and he recognized that. So once he kind of understood the value of the product, saying yes was an easy decision for this guy. And what I've gotten from these AMS and the convention is so much insight, and I'm so excited about 2019 and what I'm going to be able to do with annuities, and I'm growing in that area. That I'm going to write some this year, and hope you all have a great year too.
All right, everyone, time to wrap up here the AMS Live from Family First Life. A couple of thoughts here. One of my favorite movies growing up was a movie called Victory. And it had a tagline that, when I was a kid, I kind of got it, but it didn't really hit me till later in life. It had a tagline that says, "Now is the time for heroes." And I always thought that was pretty cool. Now is the time for heroes. Now, what does it mean to be a hero? And we think of some pretty grandiose things, and there's so many stories that we see on the news, that we hear about, that we read about, that talk about a hero, someone who has done something heroic, right? Something that has done something very courageous. And we think of, firefighters jumping into burning buildings to save people. We think about people who are charging shooters and complete reckless abandon for their own safety to help others. And I think that's the key element. A heroic act is not always something that is worthy of a newspaper or a viral YouTube video. But the common thread with being a hero is when you do not worry about how it impacts you. You don't worry about your feelings. You don't worry about your psyche, yourself, your health. You're doing it to accomplish something to help others. And it's usually rooted in a deep sense of love and commitment for those that you're trying to help. Now that can be a stranger, that can be a family member, but that's what a hero is. Now, when I think back to a period in my life, about 15 years ago, I realized, and as we all have, especially those of us who are here with Family First Life, we're not doing this, and I say this many, many times, we're not here at Family First Life because we were born with a silver spoon in our mouth, or because we have a trust fund that we can live off of, or we have a successful career with JPL. Most of us are here because we enjoy it, but also because we haven't quite figured out something that makes us the money, gives us the satisfaction, that creates the means that we need to provide for ourselves. We have some goals, we want to achieve those goals, and this is what we found that we can do. I realized about 15 years ago, and things have not always been easy. They've always been a struggle, just like everyone else. Things have always been a struggle. Things worthwhile come at a cost. They come from working on them. They don't come overnight, right? It is always that feeling of, hey, tomorrow I get to spike that ball or score the touchdown or do whatever it is. And the reality is, it's usually not like that. It's a grind, and it's the little pieces that we take away, the little success stories and the feel-good situations that allow us to take a moment and reflect and say, I'm accomplishing something, I'm doing something. And sometimes we find ourselves doing the opposite of that. We find ourselves free-falling and sliding backwards. This could be with our personal relationships. It could be with how much money we're issuing as an agent. It could be with our leadership skills. It could be with our spouses, our children, our families, whatever that might be. And so at certain times we need to say, listen, I'm going to make a stand. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make a difference. I'm going to be a hero. Now is the time for heroes. I need to not focus on myself. I need to focus on what I want to accomplish for those people that I love. So about 15 years ago, and this is a telling picture, you can't see anything here because it's literally been scraped off. This is the same desk I've had, which is funny because Bridget and Joe in the office says, hey, she had a new desk. It's like, I like my desk. It's fine, right? But about 15 years ago, I taped this on there, and it had a note that I was going to take my kids. I had two of them at the time. Yes, I just had one kid and I had another kid, that I was going to have a vacation for them 24 months from when I set that date down. A vacation. I never went on a vacation as a kid. My kids have never been on a vacation. I was going to go on a vacation. Now that's not jumping into a burning building. That's not lifting up a car, before it explodes and saving someone. It's not even worthy of a movie or of a story. But for me, it was me saying, I'm going to stop worrying and thinking about myself, okay? I'm going to stop being self-conscious about calling these leads that Matt and I had at the time. I'm going to stop being concerned that I haven't eaten dinner yet and it's 6 o'clock at night and I want to work for another hour or two. I'm going to stop having this idea that people aren't going to want to work with me on the weekends, okay? I took everything inside of me that was restricting me from achieving my goal, and I acted like a hero. I didn't care about myself. And again, it wasn't that I was not worried about third-degree burns or not worried about diving into an ocean of bloodthirsty sharks because someone was drowning. It was simply the idea that I no longer was willing to accept being uncomfortable over accomplishing what I wanted to accomplish for my loved ones. And I did it. And I've had many vacations since, and there's always ups and downs, right? It is hard to have a consistent, everyday attitude where you accomplish everything to the absolute maximum. It's as if you're in the weight room where you're going to have your best workout, as if you're running marathons, if you're training. Not every day is a great day, but that's not what matters. What matters is, did you go in? Did you do it? Did you do what you need to do to accomplish great things? And the more you do it, the easier it becomes. So I encourage you, think about what it is that you want to accomplish, how it affects others, and what is holding you back inside you. And tell yourself, now is the time for heroes. Because I want to be a hero to my family. I want to be a hero to my spouse. I want to be a hero to my mother, my father, to those around me, an inspiration to those. And with Family First Life, you'll see those people. I think they stand out on certain calls when you meet them. They're the ones that are starting to realize this. And they can be a hero not only to their families, but they can be a hero and inspiration to everyone else that they touch. So I encourage you, challenge yourself. Pick something that you want to do for someone else, not for yourself, and set out to do that regardless of how it affects you, because you don't matter. You're nothing more than the catalyst to get that done. And as I've said many, many times before, achieving that in life far exceeds the pain, the distress, the discomfort that you might feel having to go through those things. Because when we accomplish what we want for loved ones, that's the purpose of life. That's the meaning of life as I see it. And I know it feels good for those around you and for yourself. It's a very self-satisfying thing, but even better, it's satisfying for those around you. And it's something that you can all share and rejoice in. And that's why we're here. So thanks, everyone. We'll talk to you next Thursday, AMS Live, 8 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on Facebook. Take care.